Hey everybody, so if you're trying to avoid the apocalyptic virus going around Tumblr lately, you probably haven't seen that the Fault in Our Stars trailer was leaked online earlier this week. Oh my gosh, I don't know who leaked it, but I want to give them a hug and just $1 million because this absolutely made my week. And I have to be honest, the trailer, I've watched it multiple times and I don't really know how I feel about it yet. I expected to feel such this excited rush of emotions like I did when I saw the Divergent trailer or the Catching Fire trailer, but instead I'm just kind of ugh, it's not what I was expecting. And I think part of the problem is because the trailer is leaked, it's not great quality. It's hard to hear, especially on my computer. I have to turn it all the way up, and then there can be literally no other sound in the house. Even if I'm downstairs and I have the TV on upstairs, there cannot be any sound or else I can't hear it. So I basically have to sit near the computer like this to hear it, meaning I can't really see what I'm watching when I'm listening to it. So I have to pick either do I want to watch it or do I want to hear it. And then the other thing is whoever leaked it, which again, I'm thanking you for this, but I don't know why did you have to put that ugly link across so everything I see Hazel, it looks like Hazel, but I'm not quite sure because there's words across her face and it's a bad quality trailer, which obviously it's leaked so that can be expected, but I just really can't get the full gauge of it right now. But from what I've seen, I'm not that impressed, and I hate saying that because this movie, I can't wait to see it. It is in my top 5 movies of 2014, possibly even in my top 3, and the trailer, it was just, I expected, like I said, to feel, wow, and instead I was just kind of what? I should warn you that if you haven't read the book and or watched the trailer, you probably don't want to watch the rest of this video because the trailer did manage to avoid saying what the big Gus-centric spoiler is surrounding the story. So if you haven't read the book and don't know what the spoiler is that I'm talking about, because it's a big one, I'm going to say that you probably want to go right now, read the book, and then come back. We're going to say au revoir for now. Alright, so the trailer started with this really awesome narration by Shailene Woodley as Hazel Grace. And I really like Shailene Woodley. I think she's a really eccentric kind of person. I like how she cut her hair to be Hazel, because that was one of my main concerns, was that Shailene Woodley had this long hair. Go look up Divergent pictures. Her hair was long, and I was concerned that she wasn't going to cut it, and I think a lot of people were. So when she cut it, I was very excited for that. The main problem I have is she doesn't, and this is going to sound awful, she doesn't look sick enough to me. She just looks like a glamorous Hollywood movie star that you stuck an oxygen mask on, and I feel like maybe she should look a little paler, almost a little skinnier. I know you're not supposed to say that in Hollywood, but I mean, this girl she's had cancer since she was 12, she's been in chemo, all this stuff. I don't think she's supposed to look as healthy as she does. But aside from that, the narration was really cool. It had just Hazel basically going on about how her and Gus's love story is love stories are supposed to be great and blah 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 and happy, and you're if you don't know what Fault in Our Stars is, you're probably oh my gosh, this is a Nicholas Sparks movie. And then Hazel closes her eyes and is but that's a lie, and you're oh crap. And then we switch to Hazel. We see her mom for a split second, and her mom already just looks like she's gonna be a character, doesn't she? You can just tell by the mom voice that she's make some friends. Her mom is gonna be a character in this movie that's just really good, and definitely a gif meme right now, I'm saying. But they wasted no time really getting into the Gus and Hazel meeting, because right when she walked in, boom, who does she run into? Gus. And she's oh, I'm sorry. He's that's okay. And immediately I was because Ansel Elgort, I don't know how to say his name, but he looked like a really good Gus. I don't know why, but I always thought he had a British accent for some reason. I think it's the fancy English name. But when I saw him as Gus, he looks like Gus, he acts like Gus. We did not see anything, unfortunately, with a unlit cigarette for a metaphor, so that kind of made me sad. But other than that, I did like it. And then that was the other problem I had though with the trailer, was I felt like they didn't put in any of the funny moments of the thing. They had Gus's whole thing about Oblivion, but it was just, oh, do you have anything to share with the group? And he's Oblivion. It's no, his whole thing about Oblivion is that he fears it. So just having him say Oblivion is anyone who hasn't read the books is kind of what is this guy smoking, that you ask him a question, he's just oblivion. We got to see Isaac before his eye surgery with his big Coke bottle glasses. And we got to see him afterwards with his sunglasses. We got to see the egging scene. I love that when they're like, I'm angry, and then they throw the eggs. That looked really funny. But the central focus of the whole trailer was on Hazel and Gus's relationship. And seeing them meet was really cute. He's all like, what's your name? And she's like, Hazel. And he's like, no, your full name. And then she's like, Hazel Grace. And we all know that's his nickname for her. And then they had the nice line, too, about they were on the swing set, the pedophile swing set that seeks the lonely butts of children. And he was basically like, why don't you want to give like us a shot? And she said, I'm a grenade and I'm gonna explode and I want to damage as the least amount of people that I can. And then we cut to this horrendous, heart-wrenching scene that I can already tell is gonna destroy me, of poor Hazel just like having that thing where like her brain almost explodes and her dad's like rushing her in the hospital. They show the most heartbreaking shot I have ever seen in probably like any movie of Gus just standing in the waiting room like as she's going by like doing nothing. And it's just so hard because you know in that moment that he knows that he has cancer, and it's like he's watching her and thinking that like, oh, maybe she'll like die first and then she never has to find out that I have cancer again. And it's so heartbreaking, their story. And then we jet off to Amsterdam, where everything looks cheery and bright, and you're like, oh, this movie is like so happy, where again I felt like there needs to be more like, it needs to be more of an impact of us, like that these two are sick and they're not healthy, but they're living their lives. They showed the kiss in the Anne Frank house. How can you not love that? Because Hazel just grabbed her man and like went for it, and I was like, you go, Hazel. And then they showed what happens after the kiss in the Anne Frank house, which let's just close the door and watch the sheets fall. I'll let you guess what that was. That looked really weird and awkward-ish kind of, which I guess is how it was supposed to be because that's how John Green wrote it. He said it's supposed to be awkward, that's how it is. Like, it's not this magical fairy tale that Nicholas Sparks tells us it is. The only other problem I said, like I had before, was that there wasn't any of that Hazel wit in it that I felt like. And I felt like they didn't have anything about this as a pipe, or like how she's just like that dry witticism. I like the quotes they did put in from the book. It was like, you gave me a forever within a number of days, and I like that quote. I like how they showed like all the things of them in Amsterdam. I like how they really filmed in Amsterdam. I really want to go there now because it just looks so pretty. And how can you not love our final moment of Gus in the restaurant with his little champagne going, okay, and then they flash to Hazel with her letter from Gus, which someone pointed out on Tumblr, and I was like, why are you destroying me? But she has her letter, and it's the scene that started the whole trailer, and she basically just closes her eyes, and she leans back, and she goes, okay. And that's, I kind of lost it at that point. I was like, this looks like, okay, this looks like it could be good. I did like how they had the whole, like, it was like a Fault in Our Stars background, because it was like stars with Hazel when she was lying down. Overall, I'd give the trailer just like, I don't know, like a B. Like, I feel like if I hadn't read the books, I would be like, what's the point of this movie? It almost looks like The Vow to me is like how the trailer is, and the book is so much different than that, that I hope this is just like a bad trailer and they're leaving all the good parts for the movie, because overall the trailer wasn't that bad. I do have to appreciate them putting the okay at the end. That was a really nice shout out to book fans, and I'm still looking forward to this movie because Shailene Woodley and Ansel, they do seem like great actors, and the casting's really good. I love Nate Wolff. I mean, I've been watching him since like Naked Brothers Bands, remember that show? And having John Green's approval on this movie makes me feel more comfortable saying that even though I didn't like the trailer, the movie will still probably have a chance. And as we all know, movies have multiple trailers, so this is probably not the only trailer we're gonna get. So when the trailer officially comes out, which I'm guessing maybe it'll come out for the Vampire Academy movie, because whoever shot it, you can tell they shot it in a movie theater. Only one I could think of that kind of matches the like demographic they're shooting for would be Vampire Academy. So I'm hoping that I will get to see it when I go see Vampire Academy, because that'll be on a nice big screen. I'll finally be able to hear it and watch it at the same time, so I can match like things up. Like, I have to guess. I'm like, oh, is that when he says that like he's taking you to Amsterdam, or is it before? Like, I'm just so, it's hard to get a good general consensus of this. Like, I'm just kind of grasping at straws right now, but from what I've seen, it's not really doing it for me. You've seen the trailer, tell me what you thought. Do you agree with me, or are you just one of those people who's like crying in a corner because it looked like absolute perfection to you? And do you know if this is going to be at the Vampire Academy movie? Because if it is, and I get this in Divergent, I'm telling you, I'm peeing my pants before Vampire Academy even starts. So yeah, if you've seen the trailer, tell me what you thought in the comments, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to me. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!